Did you know that nearly 70% of adults don't have a financial plan? Well, in this video, you'll discover 10 essential tips for creating a winning financial plan that can help you secure your future. Hello, everyone, and we are ready for another financial check-in. This is the August financial check-in with Dr. GMP, and so we're very excited about this topic. As all topics, I mean, all the topics have been great. This one is really to push you towards financial planning in a better way, I guess I will say it. So this is really to help you develop that winning financial plan to help you make the most of godly stewardship rather than reckless spending. Okay, so Dr. GMP, you ready to talk about some good tips about financial planning?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so we are talking about 10 keys to help you develop a winning financial plan. So before we get into that, Dr. GMP, what are some challenges that people deal with regards to developing a winning financial plan?
The two major challenges that I see is one, actually getting started and selecting a tool. So people get caught up in what program do I use? What app do I use? How do I do this? How do I get started? Once they jump the hurdle of actually getting started, then there is the challenge of sticking to it because it's so easy to, be undisciplined or get distracted and not following the plan that you have put together.
Well, we're hoping that after today's episode is watched and viewed by many, that those that are struggling will either make the changes necessary to overcome those challenges, or they just reach out to you and ask for assistance. And you can look at the bottom of your of this video to get her information, and of course, it'll be in the description as well. All right, so let's get into it. What is Okay, however you want to do it. You want to count down from 10 or start from number 1?
Well, I'm a very logical, streamlined person, so I like to start at number 1 if we could.
Okay, so let's go from number 1. What is number 1?
So number 1 is set a budget. Every dollar has to be accounted for, and you must count up the costs. So whether you're saving, whether you're tithing, whether you're putting money towards all of your bills, and I highly encourage you pay all your bills in completion for that month. Every dollar needs to be accounted for. So step 1 is setting the budget.
Okay, so what is your best recommendation or suggestion for starting that budget? Is it using a Microsoft Excel, some type of program, paper and pen? What's your best recommendation?
If I'm talking to a millennial or somebody younger, it would be an app. So any type of QuickBooks app or accounting app that will help you track the money that's coming in and help you track your spending. If it's more of an old school, like my generation, 40 and up, you might start with pen and paper or an Excel spreadsheet, just whatever you're comfortable with. This should not be a laborious process, and it shouldn't give you, a heart attack or palpitation. So whatever you find that's easiest for you, whether it be electronic or pen and paper, just get started just so that you have a starting point.
And if you are having heart palpitations regarding your budget, pray. Okay. All right. You need to pray. Reach out, get some prayer. Okay. All right. Number 2. What we got for number 2?
Number 2 is have a debt-free schedule. Okay. So whether you have consumable debt, which is your credit cards and vehicles, or an investment debt, which is like your mortgage or assets, other assets that you might purchase that actually appreciate in value, you need to have a plan for that. How long is it going to take you to pay it off? If you pay extra on the principal every month, what does that do to your payment and how long it takes you to pay that off? So it's very important because as you're making life decisions, you might look up and say, oh, okay, I've been making an extra $100 a month payment for 2 years now. I can get my car paid off in, another 2 years if I just continue to do that. So that's very important, especially on mortgages. If you have a mortgage, please pay extra when you can, because you'd be surprised how much interest on the back end you cut down and how soon you can pay your mortgage off by doing that.
Okay, so real quick on that, talk to those individuals that when they get extra, they use the extra to splurge as a reward rather than putting it on their bills and debt.
So this is where your budget comes in, because if you plan for the splurging, so say you have an extra $300, cut it in half. Spend half of it on what you want to spend on, and then spend the other half on putting it towards your debt cancellation or your debt free schedule. That way, you get a little bit of both, because you do have to enjoy the fruits of your labor while you're young enough and awake enough to enjoy it.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Okay. All right. While your taste buds are still tasting. Okay. Okay. Oh, thank you. All right. That's good. So everyone, keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Hopefully you're taking notes on this. All right. Let's move on to number 3. What do we have for number 3?
Set short-term goals. So these can be personal growth goals or family growth goals. So whether you want to take a class to enhance, those of you that are not familiar with like QuickBooks or accounting software, that might be a personal goal. Or for your business, if there's a particular software or particular program that you need to understand, put that into your budget so that you can take that class and get that knowledge. If you have short-term goals for your family, what do you want them involved in? Do you want, your son in basketball, your daughter in dance? Do you want to take a vacation, a summer vacation? It's back, everybody's back to school, and it's easy to get caught up. So if you haven't got your school supplies and your back to school clothing and all of that, you can still do that, but it's best to plan ahead. So if you start planning now for holiday breaks and summer breaks and things of that nature, those are short-term goals that are very reasonable and can be captured very quickly.
That's a good one. I hope you take notes on that one. That's a good one. All right, let's go to number 4. What do we have for number 4?
Number 4 is along the same lines, but it's your long-term goals. So anything over 12 months. So if you have a child that's, in high school looking at going into college, definitely you want to start thinking about college and those college expenses, or life after graduation as you coax them out of the nest to be functional people in society and not dependents on your tax return.
Well, that's another episode there. All righty. Yes, indeed.
And then personal growth. Do you want to start a business for your family? Do you want to learn a new hobby for yourself? Just if it's going to take you more than 12 months to get there, whatever it is, you want to start planning for it now and count up the cost to make sure that you're understand how much it's going to cost you, how long it's going to take you to reach that goal, and communicating that with your family. Because sometimes as life goes on, you can get a little bit selfish and you start making decisions, but you have to keep the whole family involved and on board.
That's a very important note there, because it deals a lot with the communication. And we can get into this another day, but that's something else to consider. What do you communicate well? Do you communicate your goals well? Do you communicate your plan, your financial plan well? Do you communicate the realistic state of your finances well? Do you communicate, those things with your family, or do you just kind of throw it at them and just expect them to tough it out or deal with it? So that's a whole nother.
It is. That's a whole nother.
Touchy subject. Okay, so let's go to number 5. What do we have?
Number 5 is your insurance. So there are 3 levels of insurance. So you have your asset protection, like your car, your home, your renter's insurance, things like that. Your emergency recovery, you get hit by a car, you get in an accident at work, and so there's a temporary shift in your day-to-day operations and day-to-day finances that you temporarily need to account for. And then disaster recovery. Did somebody die? Did your breadwinner of your home die? Things like that, that major majorly shift what's going on in your world and in your family's world. So having insurance and having a plan for that and understanding how much is it going to cost to get my family back to as close of a normal day-to-day operations as possible.
Mm. And I find it interesting that a lot of people may not be eager to start the conversation about insurance and that type of planning. So it's so important to just get started on it. Put your feelings and emotions aside. This is something that you need to do for the sake of financial planning and family and making sure people are taken care of. So that's get on the insurance, people. Okay, number 6. What do we have?
It's a deeper dive into the recovery. So I talked a little bit about the emergency recovery and the categories that might go into that. But specifically go over your unexpected bills. So if you have a car that needs a little bit more love and maintenance because you can't afford a new one right now, well, then you have to plan for that. And so you take your previous year or two and count up the cost on what did you have to spend on that vehicle, what's the expectation of the useful life of that vehicle, and kind of planning out how much money is it going to cost me to maintain this vehicle. Again, temporary job loss. If you're a 2-income household and you lose one for 6 months because of downsizing or whatever, or you get married and you have that conversation of how are we going to shift our family to a 1-income household? Do you phase that out? And then medical illness and industry, just kind of talking it out and putting numbers to the scenarios to plan for that. And then again, disaster recovery is the total income replacement. If we totally lose our income with no way of getting it back, do we have a plan for that? Is there any way to do that? Primary residence rebuilding. If your house gets hit by something, is your insurance going to cover it? If it's not going to cover it, how long? What do we need to do? Do we need to totally condemn the residence and get another one? Do we need to go rent? Those types of things. And then family restructuring. One thing people don't think about, even though they should, if one or both of the parents die in an unfortunate accident, what happens to your children? We talk about godparents, we talk about legal guardianship, but a lot of times those conversations are really not had as comprehensively as they should, because if you don't have the right plan in place or communication in place, the system is quick to put those kids in foster care and put those kids in the system, and it's very difficult to unwind that process once that process starts. So yeah, just taking a deeper dive into those.
That's a heavy one. That's a heavy one. So I definitely see where people would kind of back away from that deeper dive because of the amount of work, heart, thought, plan, have to go into that. But it's you don't want to end up in the situation wondering what to do. At that point, you should be prepared for in the event of, or in case something like that happens, because you just never know from day to day and all that. Of course, we definitely pray. We thank God for the blood of Jesus. But in circumstances where there are children involved and there is no contingency plan for if the parents pass away, unfortunately, the children are left and they're underage, what happens to them? Those are conversations that have to be had. So that's a really good deeper dive there. Oh, I hope you're taking notes. Okay. All right. Let's move on to number 7.
Number 7 is retirement, saving, and investing. What are you going to invest? How much are you going to invest? And then what tools are you going to use to invest? The same with retirement. Are you sticking with a 401k? Are there other options out there? Are you doing an IRA? So there's a lots of tools and, products out there. So you just need to understand what they are, what the risks are, and the mechanics of the investing and the savings, and what that means for your goals. So that means you have to have retirement goals and goals for your investing. What number are you trying to get to live the lifestyle that you want to live? And then realistically, with inflation that keeps going up every 25 years,
oh my.
having to plan for that.
Come on, somebody. Yes, indeed. That's good right there. And I think that's something important to note right there. Having that investment plan, in terms of the number, the goal, the investment goal, how much would you need, for the lifestyle that you want? I mean, that's just dig deeper into that. So that's extremely good. Okay. All right. I hope you all are taking notes on that. All right, let's move on to number 8. What do we have?
So number 8 is your wills, your power of attorney, and your estate planning. Because now that you've gone over all the numbers in your life, all the goals in your life, and what you need to get there, you need to communicate that. And in the event that you are not able to execute the plan, then you need to identify people in your life that are going to do that on your behalf.
Okay, I can get into that, but I'm not going to. All right, number 9. Number 9, what do we have?
Number 9 is track your progress. So you need to be looking at your budget and your debt pay down, see your progress, how you're doing that. You need to be doing that monthly, so that if you need to make any adjustments, if things are not panning out, or you have to skip a month because of, life happens and you have to put money here versus there. Your goals and insurance and recovery methods, look at those annually. You should be going over all your insurances, all of that thing, all of those that we talked about. You need to look at that every year. And as your kids get older, addressing those plans with them and making sure that they are taking active roles and making sure that things are being taken care of as well. And then your wills, your power of attorney, and estate planning. You should always have that up to date for life changes. You have a baby, put the baby in the will. You get married, do what you have to do with that. You get divorced, unfortunately, make those changes. I've heard horror stories over the years of where someone has remarried and the new spouse did not reap the benefits of the insurance plans and the things that put in place because that person didn't take the time to remove the previous spouse. And so by law, they have to honor what was written, so the previous spouse would come in, and you don't want that.
No. Okay, all right. We'll another episode on that one. All right, so this is our final tip. Number 10. What do we have?
Number 10 is keep in contact with your financial advisor. So if you don't have the education and the confidence to do these yourself, by all means, reach out to me, reach out to a financial advisor, an investment advisor, a banker, a CPA, a wealth management advisor. There's so many people that are available to help you, most for a cost. So again, get that in your budget. If you got to pay an estate or tax attorney, do that, because as your life changes and you progress in life, you have to keep up with your taxes. And so as you're communicating what's going on with your financial advisors, whichever bucket they fall in, taxes also come into play with those conversations. So that's a great way to stay on top of taxes and to stay on top of where you are in your life estate portfolio.
All right, that is excellent. I mean, you've given a really good roadmap to developing a winning financial plan. So hopefully for those that may not have developed one over the course of this year, maybe they can start preparing to have that plan in place for next year, because we're getting ready to close this year out. Next year, start fresh, have your plan already ready, and go ahead and see the blessings that will come from organized financial planning. So with that being said, I know a lot was given in these tips, and I'm sure there may be questions, wanting to hear more. If you want to hear more, by all means, put a comment down below. If you'd like to reach out to Dr. GMP personally, reach out to her at her website, drgmp.com. reach out, get your questions answered. If you want to reach out to Titus II Living, send us an email at admin@titus2living.com as well. But we'd love to hear from you, and especially if you found this video helpful, found this information helpful, please leave a comment, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and share with somebody else. And until next time, stay praying, stay believing, stay Titus II Living.